All right. Happy Friday. And it's actually my first time to lead the coaching session online by myself. If I have Randy, but it's kind of scary, but please bear with me and help me. And before we go on, I want to ask you if you complete the meeting reports. Do you know where that is? And did you complete it? Okay, sounds good. And did anyone read the teaching manual or did anyone watch the YouTube video that Andres sent? No, yes, okay, maybe. So I'm gonna go over the teaching manual briefly and I'm gonna explain the activities and we're gonna come up with some ideas that we can use in Tuesday or Thursday meeting sessions. So if you have any thoughts or comments, just feel free to jump in. Let's start with that three parts of whatever that was called. The productive beliefs and unproductive beliefs that we had. For this week, we have the 2.1, the make the task come alive. We actually did this. We actually touched on this topic when we thought about the story, the background story on last teaching manual. I'm not sure if anyone remembers it. The pirates and the gold coin that we had. Um, can anyone tell me what's the reason for this topic? Why do we care about to make the story come alive?
Engaging.
I think it's just because it makes it more fun for the students if there's like a sort of story behind it, and like if it's more fun, then they're more motivated to like do the math and like
Right?
and learn.
I mean, think about your high school or middle school math classes. I mean, when I was in high school, all my math classes were like question based and not even the word question. It was like the practice problem based math classes, which was not fun. I mean, it was okay because I liked the math, but the thing was that I didn't really like to be in that class because I'm like the story. I mean, the environment was not that fun. It was not interesting. And if I so when I came to the Met CEO and I saw all these amazing stories and puzzles, I'm like, okay, so we can make the math kind of fun. So um, we can think about that if we make the activity itself or the question itself alive, then we can definitely make the students to participate more. Even though it was only 1 week that we did the tutoring session, do you have any example that you got um, some participation raised with the stories or the come alive activities?
I think we spent a lot of time on like introductions and the combinator machine. Um, and the combinator machine was kind of fun. The students got to turn on their cameras and just like they got really creative. Like we said, show something complicated, and somebody grabbed like a manual for like their laptop or something, or like some like,
That's
IKEA desk or whatever. And that was good. But we didn't have a story for the eight number grid.
right, right. So I just need to be careful on that for the next week. Not be careful. We need to just come up with something that can make students be more joyful, I should say. So some stories or what I see a lot in the last quarters session was that because now you know what your students are interested in, right? Because we went over the interests and the introductions, all the icebreaker we did last week, not last week, like 2 days before Tuesdays. Um, Now we can modify our activities based on their interest since we know them. So just keep a mind on that. And let's read the unproductive beliefs that we have. Since there's 3 people, can we do 1 box per each person? Who want to go first?
To introduce a math situation, all I really need is to explain it by talking.
Okay. Let's just not care about the productive beliefs because it's a answer. Let's think about it in our own. I'm like, why just explaining by talking is not so good?
I think it's just because that phrase where pictures are worth like some, I don't know how the phrase goes, but pictures are like worth 1,000 words or something. And sometimes being able to bring in visual aids along with talking just makes help students understand the problem even more.
Yes, yes. I'm not sure about you all, but so um my last quarter in UCI, everything turned online. So I was like, no. But when the worst class, I should say, in the online course was that when professor had nothing on his or her screen and he explains everything by words and I had to like write down everything. That was hard because even though we are kind of educated, we kind of lost first half of the words that he said. I mean, he or she said. I'm not gonna specify that he or she said, and I was just like forget everything. And it's harder in online setting because you are not like focusing on to that person like 100%. It's kind of hard. So we wanna make sure that we have something on the screen, especially like visual aids, because students like that more, and it's more interesting than just like words on your screen. And Randy also said many students are visual learners, and it's just easier for them to digest the concept with the visuals. So let's try that. And also, a good habit that I observed last quarter was that whenever you ask the question or whenever you read the instruction, some mentors type that instruction or the question on the chat so students can refer back to that question again in like 5 minutes later. So if you wanna try that, I think that's a really good technique to bring students more focused on some question. All right, the second box, anyone wanna read?
Really quick before moving on, I know it's a little different here, but when I ask my students questions in discussion, it's like I don't even type it in the chat because I think it's too fast. So I'll ask a question verbally and then I'll physically write it down on my whatever, like I have a share screen open. And I think it gives them time to think about it before I need them to answer me. So then there's not that like awkward 20-second pause where they're all thinking.
Right.
Then it's also like, okay, I need to write it down so that 2 minutes from now they still remember what the question is. Okay, I can do the second box. Yeah.
And it's a super important that we give some time after we ask some question because it's kind of hard for them to improvise some answers. I mean, even for us, if we ask some random question, well, it's kind of hard to come up with a good answer, right? So
yeah,
really,
and then as a speaker, it feels awkward if you're sitting for like, even though 30 seconds is a very reasonable amount of time to like, it's a very short amount of time to think about something. You're just sitting there and you're like, oh no, no one's gonna answer me.
did I add something wrong or was it too hard? Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, the unproductive belief. I should always start by reading the problem or by having a student read it and then go from there.
How do we think about that?
I think this comes back to your thing about when you were in earlier middle or high school, like math is very unmotivated. Like they just give you a problem and they're like, solve it, solve for X, whatever. And it's hard for students to care, especially because the activity that we do like is not required of them, right? Like it's not they don't get a grade for it. They're not in school. Yeah.
And also, I want to add to that that even though we have an amazing activity, but if it's not appearing to them, like if it's not appealing to them, they're not gonna try it out. So if we have the story or something interest before that, they'll just grab their attention and they'll motivated to do that activity more. So based on your students' interest, we need to get something before the question starts. All right, the third box, the only one left is Maya. Thank you.
Reading the problem is always a waste of time. It is not too engaging, so I better only do the explaining in my own words.
How do you think about it? It's like total opposite of the second box.
Yeah. I think like you should do some like explaining in your own words, like, build like a story behind it, like
Mhm.
go deeper, just so it's like more exciting. But also like reading the problem itself, like eventually after you like sort of make a story, like helps
Right?
students like stay on track of like what you're actually like trying to find, or like and then like you can, by reading the problem, like you can point out like the important parts of
Mhm.
like what we should be paying attention to. And I think that helps students like understand how to solve like these types of problems.
Totally, yes. The big thing is that we are not, I mean, we are after school program, but we wanna also help them on their school too, right? They're not gonna have the mentors in their school or the class right next to them, and they're not gonna explain all the questions that they read. And one big thing in today's classroom is the word problem. It's kind of hard for them to digest all the parts of the word problem. So I really like how we try to like cut the word problems off and try to make them understand. And they can use the same technique that we the mentors do, and they can do that on the school. So that's one thing. And one more thing is that instruction wise, even though you explain the question or activity really well, if they cannot understand it, then that's a total waste of time actually. So going over the right instruction first is also important. So let's not try to jump into the activity if we think we know all the activity. I mean, because it's kind of hard for the students because we already got the training or coaching on Monday and or today right now. So we kind of think that this activity is easy to understand. But honestly, if you saw this activity at first sight, was it kind of easy? It's not. Almost all the instruction material is kind of complicated, I should say. So, I mean, it's new, so that's why. All right, and Jenny said, I think it's basically impossible to read something and listen to someone speak at the same time. Yes. So if you don't read the problem, or don't they just won't ever read the problem again. Definitely, and especially in this online setting, um, everything's so flashing, wasn't isn't it? It's kind of focus. It's kind of hard to focus on one thing. So yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. And if we have any more comments on this one, let's talk about it right now. How to make it come alive, or is there anything that I can help you, or is there any comments? Okay. I'll go on. And circling information. Oh yeah. Um, I like that one. We can highlight it because we can annotate it. And what I used to do when I was mentoring like 2 years ago, that we had this whiteboard in front of the students, and we can let them write. Um, and whenever I read the question or the activity instruction, I always say that write down the important stuff that you think that is important, so they can investigate on the activities. So you can try that for the next session. Like just type on a chat box that you think something important in this instruction or the activity. Then that will be more engaged or focused on the activity instruction. So it will be kind of easier for you to them to follow the instruction. I saw a lot of students kind of forgetting the instruction in the second half. So there we go. Thank you for Randy. That good tip. I just got remember that. Right. I'll go for the activity that we have, and I'm gonna show the student manual, so it will be kind of hard for. So you gotta read your own teaching manual. This is just this only activity itself. So part one is the bingo, and the reason that we did the bingo, I think, is to show. I mean, to make the students use the camera more. Did you see that the last week, not last week, Tuesday and Thursday, the eight boards and the combinator machine, was willing to open up their camera to just show the board, not even their face, but just to show the board. So it's the same as this week, next week, that they're gonna build a bingo board, and they can show it to the camera. So even if it's kind of hard to see, please just encourage them to do it. All right. And we need the icebreaker. That's what the teaching manual was suggesting, because it's kind of awkward to go into the activity right away when you meet with your mentor. The icebreaker, it's nothing big. It's like 5 minute thing. You can just share something that you ate today. That one's a good thing too. I mean, like something you can open up, right? Right. So dice bingo. So I heard that Jaylene and Maya actually read the teaching manual. So can any of you explain the activity in your word, or you can treat me as a mentee so I can become your mentee.
Yeah, okay. I think, sorry, I read this like last night. I was like exhausted, but so we're gonna take a piece of paper and we're gonna fold it into 4 squares. So okay, so we're gonna fold it in half, hamburger style. Okay. And we're gonna fold it hamburger style again. So it should look like this.
Mhm.
Okay, and now we're gonna unfold it again, and now we have 4 squares like this. See that?
Oh,
Okay,
there we go.
so now we're gonna use this piece of paper to create our bingo board. So you're gonna write a number in each square. You're gonna write a number through 18. You can repeat numbers, and that's fine. Just in each square, write one number, and then next to the number, draw 2 circles.
What's that 2 circles for? I don't understand.
So we're gonna play a game where we roll 3 dice, and then if the sum of the 3 dice add up to the number in your square, then you mark a check, and then you get or it's like you get the bingo if you should, like you get it twice, so you have to like check it off twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 through 18, and we wanna let students know that we're gonna use 3 dice. And one thing that Randy suggested yesterday was that we can let students bring on their dice. So if they have 3 dices, I do not. Or I will say if you have, I mean, it will be more fun if one student have 1 dice and one mentor have another dice, and one do the computer generated dice, so it can be more fair. So please ask your students if you have any dice, and try to find any dice on your home too, so we can use it. But it's kind of hard to show the results, so it's up to you. I'm not sure if they're gonna lie or something. So it's important that we need to let the student know the rule before they make the board because it might change their numbers. And we gotta um, say that you can repeat the numbers, and we have to check the number twice to win. Okay. Ooh, Randy has a suggestion.
Yeah, I just wanted to say they won't know what numbers, so you might want to do some preliminary questions like, okay, you have 3 dice, and what is the smallest sum? And some of the 6th graders might have forgotten what sum means.
Mhm.
And what's the largest sum? So this way there'll be a little bit of discussion about that, which will be a good start.
Right. I think that will make your students' numbers kind of change because for me, I like number 3, but I know that number 3 is really hard to get with the 3 dices. I'm gonna omit that. So let's start. Do we have all the bingo boards? Do you have one? Oh, and Maya has the is this a website for the rolling dice?
Yeah, so you can put it as like roll 3 dice.
Oh, that's
Make
neat.
it excited and stuff.
There. Randy, since you have a dice, do you wanna roll it or should we use this virtual dice? You're muted.
If the kids have dice, be sure you tell them to put it in a box. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting as they run around the room to pick up the dice. And even if they have 1 dice, they could just roll it 3 times, but it just makes it so much more fun.
Mhm.
So you want me to do the first roll?
Yes, please.
Woohoo! Yay! Woo! 5, 1, 6.
5, 1, 6.
5, 1, 6.
Did anyone have the number? Okay, I think I'm losing right now. And I recommend you to write down that on somewhere on the screen, like annotation or Jamboard or a PowerPoint or on the chat to just have a record.
Okay, tell me if you want me to keep rolling or you want to roll the other dice. You just tell me whatever you want.
Oh, for the second round, let's go with this. Cool. 5, 6, and 3. Oh, it's not super fun here because there's no effect of rolling. But whereas Randy's real dice, we can hear the sounds. So it will be better if you have some
Real
dice.
dice is better.
Now it feels like really a game show right now. And Randy, can you roll for third one?
Rolling. Woo! Ooh, 111, Jen.
Oh my god! I do not have that. Are you sure you have 111?
I have. Can you see? Okay, wait. I don't know how, but I have 1. Oh wait, where do I put it? 1, 1, 1. Yeah, I did have 111.
Oh my god. I should put the 3 on it. And for the faster should we keep going? No, we only have 20 minutes, so we're gonna skip this. Let's go with this again. So this is what you can do. You can make this activity really, really fun. So be like a game show host, really. Even though there's no prize for it. All right. And after this bingo activity was done, we have to make it into some kind of math concept, right? How can we do that? I mean, the bingo was fun, rolling dice was fun, and it will be better if I win. But now what? What we can do?
Can
Whenever,
you ask the student why they chose the 4 numbers that they put on their board?
there can be one question. Why did you choose that 4 numbers? That's one question that can make students think about their choice if they had some thoughts on it. And I would ask, what was the least number that was picked in your bingo board? And why do you think? Wait, did you have 1 on your bingo board, Jaylene?
No.
Okay, I was like, why? So, for example, if I had 3 or 4 or 5, I am sure that that number will gonna happen less in the 3 dice rolling. So you wanna make students think about it. And I wanna also ask, what was the number that filled up the 2 check marks the first? What was the first number that checked all the numbers? I mean, all the circles right next to the number. So you can say, why was that even allowed to happen? Why was that number um, was rolled so frequently? Is there a reason behind it, or is it just a luck? Any other question that we can
I have
ask?
a question about not about the activity. I just meant um, so what if you ask the question like, oh, why did you choose these 4 numbers for your board? And then all the students just say that they don't know.
Oh, so okay. As Randy typed in the chat, the group leaders, we're gonna present this idea of using 2 dice. So I'm gonna show you. It will be like a snail race. So they're gonna use 2 dice, and they're gonna pick a snail, like a bingo board. And whenever they roll the dice, that number, the snail gonna go forward. And room leader is gonna explain why number 7 is very likely to win, because there's a lot of chances on that 7. So if the students who are kind of participating in this activity, then they will know choosing the most frequent number is the key for winning. So they're gonna kind of know, but if say like we just did whatever number that I liked.
Okay, cool. So if they're like, oh, I don't know, then I can prompt them by like asking to think about this snail race activity at the
I
beginning
will
or
say like,
something.
do you remember the snail race? What was the technique to win? So they will have some kind of background knowledge, the pre-made in like 5 minutes ago. So, all right. Slide 45. Okay, there we go. After we ask this question, we wanna make some kind of visual representation that can show that certain number has more frequency in these 3 dice. Any idea, anything that you like, any visual representation you like to show the probability? Did we actually ever had this kind of visual representation in our school generation? I'm not sure. I don't remember it. Jaylene, I was gonna talk.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say in the snail race, I saw how there was like a graph that was forming. So the 7 was like the highest, and then the lowest number. So it was kind of like
So it's like a
bar graph.
graph, the frequency graph.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other idea?
So you make the same kind of 2-dimensional table that you had before, except now instead of having 1 dice and the second dice, the first one is dice, which you already have information on from the snail race. You just like copy the values or whatever. And then the top one is like the third dice. So you have some information on the sum of 2 dice from an earlier activity, and then you have the third dice added in as new information.
That will be kind of complicated, but I like it. I wish we can make a 3D table, but it's hard. Any other visual representation you can think about? What I really like whenever there's a possibility question, I like the tree diagram. So I'll add that tree diagram. It will be kind of messy with 3 dice, but you know, I like it. And I think the triplet's also good. Like a number, number, and number. This can show the frequency of the sum, and we can just like add up the sum like this. So anything that your student like, you can try to come up with the visual representation. So we have on the student manual. Okay, how do I erase this thing? Clear. Okay. Is a table first. So like Jenny said, we have 6 tables, and the top part is the first dice, and this one is the second dice, and this is third dice, and the in each cell they have the sum. The thing that I'm kind of worried about is you want to explain this table really, really well, because it's kind of hard for students to understand this.
Could we you just do the same thing, but instead of 3 dice, you do 3 coin flips, and you say like a heads is 1 and a tail is 0. And then the math gets like way, way easier. You only have to add ones and zeros, and there's only like 2 possibilities. But you can like explain the same kind of concept, but it's like a much shorter, it's a much smaller amount of information.
If you want to use that as a reference, I think that's a good idea. But since we already did the bingo, I think students will gonna understand the concept of these big tables. So if your students kind of struggling with it, you can simplify that example. But let's try this first. But I like your idea. And I also like to make this table together, not just showing, hey, here's a table. But if we can make the table together, that will be much valuable for the students that, hey, I actually made a table with them. So if you can make a Jamboard or the slides, or you can just bring up the whiteboard, go ahead. And we have the graph that Jaylene said. So we can see the frequency of 10 and 11 is a lot. So there's a high chance of winning if you put the number 10 and 11. Okay. And also we have, what is it called? The pie chart, right? Yes. The concept is this can be a spinner, so it has the same chance of rolling the dice or just spinning the wheel, because we have the same number of 11 and same number of 10 as the bar graph did. So 27 slots for them. So we are trying to transforming that 3 dice to roulette, and we're going to say that those two have the same possibility if we make the area of the pie the same. Sounds okay? All right, that was part 1. But if you like, if your student like to play the bingo game again after they know the winning strategy, go ahead and do that, and let's see if that works or not. Because we are not rushing you to finish all the activity in 1 hour. I'll say that's impossible. So do not be really frustrated. If your students want to try the winning strategy, go ahead, and you can reflect on that too. Like after you knew the strategy and you made the new bingo board, did you feel more confident, or you can ask the strategy of the putting the duplicate number on the bingo board, so you can generate whole new questions out of it. So if your student want it, go for it. No worries about the time management on that. Yes. So this one, so part two is more like a backup plan. If your students are done with the bingo really fast, you can go on this, but you don't have to. No worries. All right. And pet. Was Maya explaining the first bingo board, right? Jaylene, can you explain this for us?
Actually, didn't get to this one.
Okay, then let's go it together. So, what do you see? Let's just do the notice and wonder part. What do you see? What do you kind of wonder? What's the question you have?
I wonder why the logs are there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of
Hmm.
wondering what the star and the blue circle means. Any other thoughts in this diagram? I mean, it said the ant pets, but I do not see any ants. That was one thing that I was thinking, like, where's the ant? Anything else?
The blue dot and the star are like on the opposite sides of
Mm-hmm.
the log shape.
Like it's opposite to each other, but I'm not sure what that means yet. So doing this kind of notice and wonder is really important for students because you get to like engage more, and you get to I'll say you get to look closely to this diagram, and if you something reveals, it's more fun. So let's try not to forget that. Next slide, there's Ant finally. And here's the instruction. Jaylene, can you read the first part?
Mhm. The ant wants to walk from the bottom left to the top right, always moving closer to it. Take turns showing how the ant can move. Use paper and show us the path with your fingers. In how many ways can the ant complete its goal?
All right. So the rules. What do we understand? What was the rule?
Moving from the bottom left to the top right, so star to circle.
Mm-hmm. So star is the start point, and the circle is the goal point. All right. Anything else?
You can only go up and to the right. You can't go left or down.
Oh, okay. So if I go up, right, and down, that's not possible. Okay, that's the important thing. So we only go up and right. All right. Any other important things that we have to notice?
Take turns.
Take turns, yes. And it also encourages to use the paper and show the path on the it's my bingo board, but like on the screen like this. So we can practice that, or otherwise we can use the annotating function. So that should be fine. But for some students, I think it's Thursday school, they cannot annotate on the screen with their school computers. So you gotta prepare some kind of Jamboard or some other way to bypass that annotating function. But we can do annotating, right? All right. Okay. I'm gonna annotate the first path, and I'm gonna popcorn it to someone else. And the other person draw and popcorn it. All right, I'll go for the easy one. Ta-da. This is me. And I'm gonna popcorn it to Maya. Okay. And you gotta popcorn it.
I'll popcorn it to Jaylene.
Oh, there were another easy way. Okay.
I'll popcorn it to Randy.
Randy, you gotta popcorn someone.
I'm on mute. I popcorn to Jenny.
I like the bright yellow. All right, you can popcorn it to someone else too.
I'll popcorn back to Jaylene.
Excuse me. I'll popcorn it to Jin.
Okay. Let's see. Where's my mouse? This. And I'm gonna popcorn it to Maya again.
Is there any other?
Do we have any more? Wait.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I have this cycle and we can count how many people drew the path. So Jin, Maya, Jaylene, Randy, Jenny, Jaylene again, and me again. But Maya couldn't find any other paths. So we know that there's 7 paths. And that's the answer for the question. Um, what was one thing that you noticed what I did as an activity? What was something that you can use in your breakout room? Popcorning. Yes. Take turns is kind of hard for students if you are like the first week and the new students that you met. So popcorning is I think it's a fun way to make them take turns.
Like writing down the names in the chat so we can actually see like how many people went and count like how many.
So I wrote down all this cycle. Any other thing? I just tried one more thing, but I'm not sure if it was clear to see or not. Okay, I popcorn back to Maya, even though there's no more way. We do not want to just like finish it whenever we have the answer because we want to let the students figure that out. So even though we found all 7 ways, if you can keep moving to another student and if they can say there's no more way, I think that will be better for them to it feels like more achievement, I should say. Like I did something. I figured out there's no more way. So I think that's a good
I just,
practice to do that, not finishing everything right away. And
I
one
just,
more.
I just learned how you can make it real thick.
How do you do that? I'm like,
Jenny, you motivated me. Oh, okay. So I went to view. Okay, so I went to annotate.
mhm.
Oops, my annotate went away. Okay,
Oh,
and then I went to format.
uh-huh.
And when you go to format, you can pick your line width.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
And you know, I thought another kind of cool way maybe is,
Oh, stamping.
I mean, it's a possibility.
I like it. And I also want to make the students to use different colors.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because we had 2 greens. I mean, we can see the names, but you know, we want to be special. All right. So this will be the same kind of activity for all 4 problems. So we have more complicated path and one more path. And there's 2 levels of paths. So Have fun with drawing the path with students and finding patterns and take turns. If we can use the paper and show it to the camera, that will be the best. Annotating will be the second one. And you can make a Jamboard for those of students who cannot annotate. Any questions or the comments on this activity? Anything that we can make fun?
You can also have them draw the first one on a piece of paper, hopefully like with some kind of marker or whatever, or maybe they have crayons, and then everybody does a path and then hold them up. And then you can see, oh, your path is the same as mine. Oh, yours is different. So that's another possibility.
Oh,
Since
so just
can't annotate.
one person do one path and like compare if they have the same path or something?
Everybody do a path at the same time.
Oh, cool.
And
So
then everybody show it up. Show
it's
it.
like the A board, but the path.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, I like it. And I also like that this is ants. So you can say how UCI's mascot is anteater. And we can just say, hey, there's a one university aspect of this activity. I mean, it was kind of weird to see the anteater as a mascot, but we have it. All right. Any other questions before we go on?
You know, the one thing I was thinking about the story for the bingo thing was like, hey, how many people have been to Las Vegas? Because I've been in bingo tournaments in Vegas.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Hey, we're all going to Vegas together. We're all going to be in this bingo tournament. The prize is $1,000. Are you ready? Let's go.
I like those kind of story that just makes you so excited, right? Any other comments or suggestions that we can make some activity fun? I mean, if we had each other in front of us and had a table in front of us, it'll be much better to give out the prize if they win, but it's kind of hard in here. So you might wanna, I don't know, make a Hall of Fame and write down the name that who got the bingo first. That's an idea, yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
It
Fun.
was it was amazing that you actually responded because I was kind of nervous like if the mentors do not reply to me if I ask questions. So here we go. You were amazing. Um and so we do not have Mondays coaching session. So Band 182 is not there because there's school holiday. But the thing is that we have a mentor social from 6:30 to 7:30, I think. I'll double check on that. And please just join so we can have fun. We might. Oh, and did you exchange the contact information with your co-mentors? Okay, so if they were not here, you maybe wanna ask them to just watch the video, or you can just explain them what you learned today. Thank you so much for coming, and see you next Monday, hopefully, or Tuesday or Thursday. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.